Hi everyone, welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. I know I normally don't do a video on Sunday, but every now and again I might do so because there's things that I need to talk about that's happened to me. Because guys, one of the things about doing that is that as I speak it out, of course, without giving specific details, but as I talk about my personal experiences of pain, grief, trauma, trials, and challenges, as I speak about those things and I put it out there, not only is it going to help somebody else, but it's going to help me to release the pain of it all. And so, what I'm going to do today is do a special video to talk about where all this pain stemmed from, the root of it all, and how it became like something painful and then it turned into a trauma situation. And as I speak about these things today, it's going to release that pain. Remember, guys, I always talk about an outlet for the pain. It has to have an outlet so that it can be released, and then it no longer has a hold or grip on your life. So that's what I'm doing today without giving specific details of it all. So join me here today if you guys are around. This video, of course, today is being pre-recorded, and then I'm going to put it on YouTube for everyone to see. And someone is going to listen to this video and they're going to resonate with it, and they're going to understand the power of silence and prayer, and they're going to understand why it is necessary to keep moving forward and not give up on yourself, and why self-love is important as well. We're going to talk about it. This video may be a little long, so make sure you have time in your spare time to sit and watch it. And as you watch this, share this with other people, because this video, is going to really help a lot of people who might have gone through similar experiences. So the topic of discussion today, guys, is the power of silence and prayer amidst the hate. Once again, because I have notes here because I want to cover certain points. The power of silence and prayer amidst the hate. And we're going to get into this topic today because, like I said, as I release, the pain is going to help me, and it's also going to help others who may have gone through or might be currently going through something similar. And what they hear here today might help them get through whatever you might be going through. Also, remember that I speak from a place of personal experiences of everything that I've gone through. The pain, the hurt, the separation, the trials, and the challenges. And I talk about how I became an overcomer instead of succumbing to it. And a key factor is to keep going, to persevere, fight, crawl through these challenges. Because remember, they're not forever. So with that being said, guys, keep in mind I'm not a therapist, a social worker, or a counselor. I speak from a place of personal experiences of what I've gone through. And on this channel, we're here to uplift, encourage, and motivate, and not to tear down. We have enough of that in this world today, as you guys can see. So with that being said, let's get into this topic of discussion. One of the most difficult things for me, and this video is a little difficult, so just bear with me. It was one of the most difficult things was to leave behind the toxic individuals who wanted me to stay broken and down at the bottom of the barrel. Because many of these folks I knew all my life. I grew up with them, family members as well, etc. And it was difficult to do that because of those connections, those deep connections with these individuals. However, it was necessary for me to acquire peace and to keep my inner peace instead of allowing myself to be broken down because of the toxicity. Um, so telling me in so many words, these folks was telling me in so many words to stay in my so-called place as a woman, to be seen and never heard. And this came from just different people and situations. Many of these folks, I grew up in an organization and religious setting, and they wanted me to stay in my so-called place. Be quiet, do what you're told. You're fare better in this world if you stay in your so-called place. All of my life I have been asking God, why? Why am I going through all this? You know, even in school, being bullied, being targeted, just going, people just, you know, doing the most and the worst. And I realized that I had to persevere. And it was important for me, no matter what was going on, to be my authentic self. Because in this world today, there's a lot of fakeness. People are being fake so that they can be in a certain class or certain group with individuals. But if you don't be your authentic self, then what do you have? So it's important for me to be my authentic self, and I've been fighting with this all my life. And I'm going to tell you where it stemmed from and how it started. I remember a time when I was 23 years old, and I was swaying from the religious organization that I grew up in, trying to find my own way and my purpose in life by trying to form new connections. And many of these connections I was forming was outside of the organization, which is prohibited. You know, I always knew that I was here for something more, a purpose, you know, something more fulfilling than somebody telling me to stay in my place, do what you're supposed to do, and you will fare better in this world. I also remember getting in trouble for this by the organization because I started to veer away from it at the age of 23. I grew up into this, the entire family is part of it. But I saw that, you know, I could not live the life that they wanted me to live. Let's say it like that. And because of this, bear with me, guys. I have some notes that I have here on the board here. Because of this, you know, what was happening is that I was making a lot of outside connections. And, you know, I was getting into trouble for it. So I had to sit down with them on many occasions to talk about A, B, C, and D and whatever else. And their resolution to these problems was to, you know, nobody believes this, even when I would even share this with the family, but I'm telling the truth. They sat down with me many occasions, but this final one was when they were trying to tell me I need to get married to somebody that they probably were going to pick for me, a man within an organization. Say what? I'm 23 years old. I'm not interested in that time. And if I form outside connections, there's a reason for that. I'm not being fulfilled where I am. And there's something more to life for me than just that. They didn't understand that. And when my answer was no to that, I'm not doing that. Because I couldn't believe that that was even put on the table as a suggestion. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And of course I rejected this immediately. Soon thereafter, because I refused to listen to what they wanted me to do, and I continued to have these outside connections, I was excommunicated. I really tried to hold on a little bit longer because, you see, at that time, I was living in my mother's house, and I knew this was going to break her heart. But I still knew at the same time that I wasn't being fulfilled there, and that it wasn't, there was something more for me. I didn't know at the time. I was only 23 years old, but I knew there was something more for me than this. So after my mom found out, I had to move out of her house. I was forced out. I'm talking about this because this is where all the pain stemmed from. This is where it all began. And this is, when you talk about the root of the situation, it's just like having an illness, right? And you go to the doctor and you find out, and then finally the doctor finds the root cause of the illness. And if he zooms in on the root cause of it, then he can help you to rid yourself of the illness. And this is why I'm talking when it comes to pain and where it stemmed from and all of this. Talk about it, release it, and I can move on. And this is hard to talk about, but it's necessary, because it's not only helping me, but it's going to help somebody else here. This is where all the pain and the hate started and stemmed from. And this was, at the age of 23. This is where my life at the age of 23 started to go to hell, guys. Literally hell. I had to leave my home where I live with my mother because I was excommunicated and had to move out. For a while, I was homeless for about a few weeks. And not in the street homeless, but couch hopping, sleeping on other people's couches, here, there, until my father found out about what was happening, and he stepped in, and he was very furious about what was happening here, and he found me a nice studio apartment to live in. Because all of my family members, when I was excommunicated, all turned against me when I was ousted out of this religious organization. Like I said, I'm talking about these things, but I'm not giving specifics. And if you guys know what I'm talking about, you can put the pieces of the puzzle together with this. But we are on YouTube. The only one who was by my side was my father during this tumultuous time. Who was he was not part of that religious organization. And, so he was there helping me. The hate, guys, the lies, the viciousness of the gossip, it was a lot. And more importantly, the people I grew up with since I was like 6 years old, and who I had connections with, all got chopped down just like that, like it didn't mean anything. And people would see me because I was still around and would turn their head. I remember a woman who was part of the organization. I had went to the hairdresser and she was there. And you know how, they put you under the dryer or whatever, and she was at a dryer next to me with her body turned away from me like I was some sort of disease or something, not talking to me the entire time. But this is somebody who talked to me the entire time that I was part of that organization. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, God, is this really how this is? It's like they treated me as if I was some sort of disease or something. And it just got so bad with that because I've lost all the connections there. The hate and the lies were so vicious and overwhelming that I had a nervous breakdown, guys, at the age of 23, and ended up in a hospital for 3 months because of all of this. The hate was real, and my father was enraged about it. He was the only one. No one came to the hospital to see me but my father, and he was there helping me. And I'm gonna share something else with my father, because I don't talk a lot about him, but I am today. My father, because when things were like this, my father was there. He came to my apartment. and made sure I know he had to get up and go to work. Sometimes he went to work from my apartment because he wanted to make sure I was okay after I came out of the hospital. He was there at the hospital every day telling me how much he loved me. He made sure there was a time when I was going through so much because of something that happened to me when I was 15. And I wanted to drop out of school. I was going through a depression because of it. My father went to the school, made sure that I went to school, and I graduated from high school. And because of it, I was able to go to college and get a degree if it wasn't for him, because I was determined that I wasn't, I was going through a real depression because of something, which I'm not talking about that particular situation today, but that happened to me at 15, and nothing was really done about it. And I am starting with this because, like I said, this is where all the pain and everything began in my life at the age of 23. And as I speak it out on this platform today is where it all is going to end. As I speak it out, because I'm freeing myself from it. And I have a hard time doing this because it makes me a little uncomfortable. But like I said, as you speak these things out, it's freeing, because it's not going to have that chokehold on me anymore. And God's word says, what is in the dark shall be exposed to the light, and therefore render powerless. So this is another form of that, speaking these things out, so that the pain doesn't stay stuck and stagnated. Because for a long time, my self-esteem was in the gutter because of all of this. And then getting involved with relationships, with people who, I wanted to be loved and get love from, and these people were toxic as hell. So, the pain continued. It took years for me to crawl, bite, and chew through this pain. Where I am today, where I am at a space of self-love, inner peace, healing, and growth. It took a lot to get to this place. This was not easy. It's like being in a no-ending battle until you end the pain by speaking it all out. So the hate, the pain that a few others wanted to bring to my life today will only make me go into a place of fasting, prayer, and perseverance. Because I'm going to always crawl, bite, and chew through. Now that I know my worth, because before my self-esteem, like I said, was in a gutter. And when your self-esteem is that low, you don't have it in you to fight, because it was at a time where I didn't feel that I was worth anything because of everything that I was going through. And I was in that space for a very long time, folks, a very long time. And it just felt like I had burdens and burdens. The metaphor that I use all the time about carrying bricks on your back and trying to climb a hill? It felt like I had 1,000 bricks on my back, and I was just barely making it up that hill, until I learned how to throw those bricks off. And the key factor, besides persevering, is self-love. Because once I started to see that, I didn't deserve these things, and therapy helped me a lot. The pro and the con list that I always talk about. What are people bringing to the table in my life? Whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, or another kind of connection, whatever it is, what are they bringing to the table? What are they giving? Are they giving an equal give and take? And when I did the pro and con list, I was overgiving because I wanted to keep these folks in my life. And because my self-esteem was so low that I just, had to heal and do a lot of work to heal this pain. So today it will only make me go into a place of fasting, prayer, and perseverance. and setting strong boundaries with those who want to bring toxicity to my table, because I don't accept that anymore. And I don't allow people to ignite a fire with arguments. And I'm not talking about disagreement. I'm talking about these, heated arguments over, because I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to walk away, leave the person where they there, and say that, set strong boundaries, and then keep myself at a distance. You see, guys, I have been through it all. And it's kind of difficult to talk about these things. But like I said, as I speak them out, it's going to help me and help somebody else. To let them know that I'm not on this channel saying ha ha, he he, or whatever. I've really gone through hell and then some. But coming back from it, the healing work is necessary. To heal, to grow, and evolve. And when you get to a place that you heal these things, then what people throw at you, I'm unbothered by it. Because as I fast and go into prayer with God, I give those burdens to Him. I'm not carrying anyone's burdens. My own burdens I give to God, so I can stay focused on my healing and growth, which is, and my inner peace, which is priceless to me. So when some people decide that they want to lie, gossip, and hate on me, I am going to turn that pain into power. And that power into purpose. And then that purpose into persevering and helping other people to do the same, so that they know that they don't have to stay in a place of stagnation and pain brought on by others who want to see you like crabs in a barrel. They want to step on you and keep you at the bottom, because they don't want to see you grow, heal, and evolve. They don't want to see you climb out of that barrel. I will also give my silence and hate. I will also give my silence to the hate and toxicity. So, because I know abuse inside out, I have healed inside and out. And when somebody want to come and abuse and talk all that, whatever, I just look at them. Because they're not going to ignite the fire with me, because my silence, there is power in that. Because I'm showing that person that you don't have any control or power over me. Because I'm going to stay in a place of unbotheredness, healing, growth. And when you self-love, guys, you're unbothered by that noise and what they're talking about, because these are people who refuse, some of them or many of them refuse to heal, grow, and evolve, because it's a lot of work. That means they have to look and address the elephant in the room. And when people don't take accountability for the pain that they brought into your life, they want to downplay it. And I'm talking about people who brought pain for years into your life, and they want to downplay it, and they don't want to take accountability. They want to push it all on you, like, well, if you didn't do this, I would have never did that to you, and etc. and so forth. Those people I set boundaries with, or just close the door and leave them where they are. Because part of the healing process and the growth is to look at the elephant in the room, to address it head on, and to look at the pain and see the part that you played in this situation. Take accountability for it and forgive yourself and move on. There is power in being silent when others want to ignite the fire. Because if you engage in all that toxic stuff they're talking about, no matter if it's a malicious lie or whatever it is, when you engage in it, then they have ignited that fire. And sometimes the people will smirk behind it because they got you to behave out of character. Now, what that means is that they are intruding on your peace, your place of being at a place of inner peace. And I won't allow that. My peace is priceless and it's off the table. So when someone want to come at me with this, I just look at them and I leave them where they are, shut the door, cut off, block, and delete. Fasting and prayer moves God. What I notice, fasting and prayer moves God to take the necessary action to calm the storm that might be brewing. While I continue to move forward, I give all these things to Him. And I don't allow toxic individuals in my life. I have learned lessons. Because like I always talk about, people, situations, and circumstances come into our life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. And many of these things were unlearned lessons because I kept attracting the same toxic people, and people who want to just, you just have so many toxic individuals who get off on just tearing you down, and I leave them where they are. I don't allow that in my life anymore. This is why I always emphasize the key factor of persevering, regardless of what it looks like. Keep going, keep moving forward, bite, crawl through these things, and set strong boundaries. Because the boundaries you set is going to help you. And if people decide that they want to cross those boundaries, yeah, I don't care about your boundaries and I'm going to step across it, because I had that situation too as I started the healing process, and I knew that I wasn't going to give up on myself. I had to do this. And when people were stepping over those boundaries, whatever, and girls sit down, shut up kind of thing, I cut off, block, and delete, and I don't open those doors again. When I cut off, block, and delete and make that decision, it's over. It's a wrap. There's no going back to something. Because to me, it's like a dog going back to its vomit to lick it up. I'm not doing that. Why would I go back to a place of pain that a person continue to create over and over in my life? And the reason why I'm saying this, because that's how I did with relationships. People would do the horrific things, and then, baby, I'm sorry, or whatever, and I go right back in it. And when I go back in it, it will be worse than the first time of whatever they did. And it will be a vicious cycle of abuse. Guys, you don't have to be in abusive situations, or whether it's a religious setting or whatever organization or person or connection, you don't have to put up with that. And today, I'm unbothered by what they say for the most part. I'm human, I feel things, but I do not allow myself to be in these connections, because I've been through it so much that I see the signs of it. And when someone tries to come through that door, and bring that toxicity, what I do is shut that door, padlock it. And I don't allow it in my life. And it took a lot for me to get to this point, because my self-esteem was so low because of abusive relationships, dealing with family members who don't talk to me because of religious settings and because I'm not a part of it. But it's important, guys, to be your authentic self. Never allow anybody, I don't care if it's 1 million or 500,000 people coming against you because they don't like who you are. The key factor is, if somebody don't like you, stay away from you. They don't get to disrespect you or abuse you because they don't understand who you are. We are all similar, but yet in many ways we are not the same. And that's okay, because if God wanted everything to be the same, he would have made it that way from the beginning. And people, some people have control issues. They can't control their own life, but yet they want to control somebody else's. And what I do is stay to myself. I, let a few people in, but not many, because when I see the toxicity and abuse, verbal abuse, I'm not going to put up with it. And I don't have to be loud and out of character. All I have to do is the sound of silence and set boundaries. So if anybody is going through any tough times like this, abuse, pain, over and over, remember, you have a choice. You have a choice in a matter. You don't have to stay in these situations, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a relationship setting, connection. It could be what I just mentioned. You don't have to stay in situations that you don't feel fulfilled, and what gets to me the most is when a person feel like, girl, sit down, shut up, you ain't going nowhere. Where you going? What you gonna do? Remember, we all have a choice in a matter. We don't have to stay in abusive situations that are not going to allow us to be ourselves, that are not going to allow us to grow, heal, and evolve. That's just going to make us feel lower than the ground. Nobody has to deal with that. Nobody has to put up with that. And as I've gone through all of these things, and I started this journey to heal, I've learned the power, guys, the power of silence and prayer amidst the hate. Because when you're silent, they can't ignite that fire of toxicity. And when you set those strong boundaries, they can hop over it. But when you cut off, block, and delete, that's it. It is your decision. You don't have to deal with these things. You can close the door to it. And what I always say to you guys, that it is better to be at a place of peace instead of broken down into pieces, because you don't have to stay in that situation. You don't have to stay there. So heal so that you can grow, evolve, and you can be the best version of yourself, because one day you're going to be a testimony to somebody out there who've gone through everything that you've gone through, and you can help them with your testimony by telling them how you persevere, how you bit and crawled through the trials and tribulations, and how you heal all of it and close the doors to things that no longer serve who you are. That's the message today, guys. I hope this message helps somebody, because somebody needs to hear this and know that you are worth it, and never allow anyone to tell you that you're not. Thank you for being here today, guys. I'll see you sometime tomorrow. Subscribe to the channel and invite others to be here. Thank you all for those comments for the Friday video. We're going to be talking about a lot of this a little more, about the hate and all this other stuff that's going on, one day at a time, guys. Continue to invite others to show up, subscribe to the channel, and thank you all for continuing to be here. I'll see you sometime tomorrow, and you guys have a great Sunday. Bye for now.